story opens with a shocking and terrifying scene. A man is left speechless as he witnesses massive tentacles rising from turbulent ocean waters. Before he can react, disaster strikes. The entire oil drilling platform is annihilated by a monstrous entity, and all personnel are killed. The story then shifts to the icy expanse of the Arctic, where a scientific research team is conducting explorations. As one of the scientists, a man, prepares to deploy underwater equipment, his colleague Leah inside the tent receives an urgent weather warning. A severe blizzard is approaching, and all activities must cease immediately. Unknown to them, a Russian military-grade submarine is patrolling nearby in neutral waters on a secret mission. The crew aboard the submarine detects strange anomalies, intense noise levels, and the seabed rising unnaturally. Back at the research site, Leah also notices bizarre tremors and data irregularities. Without time to analyze, a sudden violent disruption erupts from the ocean, blasting water into the sky. Her colleague, realizing the danger, drags her out and they race away on a snowmobile just as the ice beneath them begins to shatter. They're thrown off by a surge from the cracking ice but narrowly survive. Tragically, their research base is destroyed and submerged by the ocean, with no survivors. This, however, is only the beginning of the unfolding catastrophe. Simultaneously, the Russian submarine is assaulted by the same force. Massive waves strike the vessel, injuring many on board, and something seems to be dragging the submarine downward. In desperation, the commander presses an emergency beacon, which emits a distress signal and briefly illuminates a massive shadow beneath the sea. The distress call is received by command headquarters, which dispatches a rescue mission under the leadership of Commander E1. As they follow the beacon's coordinates, something strange occurs. A group of whales surrounds their submarine, gently bumping it in what seems like a warning. Misinterpreting the behavior as a threat, the crew emits sonar pulses to drive the whales away. The crew then notices that despite not descending, they are getting closer to the seabed, a clear sign that something is wrong. Suddenly, a giant shadow attacks the submarine. At the same time, Leah and her companion manage to establish weak satellite communication with a nearby drilling platform. But due to the blizzard, the signal is too unstable for help to be dispatched. In despair, her colleague fires a flare into the air, preparing to wait for death. Leah, however, encourages them to keep moving through the night. Eventually, they spot a distress beacon and decide to wait there in the hope of being rescued. Meanwhile, Commander E1 maneuvers the submarine into a narrow crevice in an attempt to escape the pursuing creature. Facing a dead end blocked by a glacier, he orders the engines to be shut down, hoping to avoid detection. The strategy works, and the monster seemingly loses interest. On the ice above, Leah and her companion are freezing to death when the sound of shifting ice awakens them. A submarine bursts through the ice, and they believe they've been saved. However, after E1 learns they are members of an international geological survey team, he initially refuses to help, citing the classified nature of their mission. But, swayed by their desperate pleas, he reluctantly agrees to bring them aboard. As the submarine continues its journey, familiar sounds return, ominous noises indicating the presence of the mysterious sea creature. E1 prepares to hide again, but realizes their location is near a drilling station, making surfacing risky. With no better option, he commands the submarine to ascend, which sets off alarms at the drilling platform. Before the staff can report the sighting, a gigantic figure emerges from the sea, annihilating the entire platform with its enormous tentacles. Now face to face with the monster, E1 deploys tracking signals to observe the beast. Just as the crew is frozen in terror, the creature begins moving toward them. E1 orders a rapid retreat, but higher command considers his retreat cowardly and relieves him of duty. They take over and launch torpedoes at the creature. Although the first attack appears successful, the monster continues to pursue them, leading to another 2 torpedoes being launched. Even after these hits, the radar shows the creature is still active. A massive tentacle strikes the submarine, sending it plummeting toward the ocean floor. The creature continues its assault during the fall, igniting fires in the torpedo storage room. As chaos unfolds, E1 regains control and orders a daring maneuver. Realizing the monster tracks them via electromagnetic signals, he commands all systems, including radar, sonar, and engines to be shut down. Once everything powers down, the creature loses track of them and disappears. But the crew must remain silent and still. Unfortunately, with all systems off, the fire inside the torpedo bay spreads uncontrollably, and dangerous gases accumulate. With lives on the line, E1 gives the order to restart the engines. He navigates the submarine through the tentacles with extreme caution. After a nerve-wracking sequence, they manage to escape. Following the successful escape from the sea monster, E1 lifts the submarine's silent mode and immediately orders the fire crew to extinguish the blaze in the torpedo compartment. However, by this point, the flames have grown uncontrollable. The entire crew evacuates the chamber, sealing it off before activating the fire suppression system. The room is flooded with carbon dioxide, which finally extinguishes the fire. But this comes at a heavy cost. The submarine is now completely disarmed. Faced with this critical situation, the crew collectively decides that the only viable option is to retreat, repair, and return later to resume the search and rescue mission. Under pressure from the crew, E1 reluctantly gives the order to head back. However, Leah approaches him with a crucial insight. She shows him a map pointing to the site of their underwater detonation. The South Basin, a geologically folded region perfect for housing a creature's lair. It's likely, she speculates, that their explosion woke something ancient. She suggests the creature might be the legendary Kraken, a giant sea monster spoken of in maritime myths. According to her reasoning, this Kraken may have been in a deep hibernation, and due to its time in dormancy, its coordination is impaired, possibly even blind, but with an acute sensitivity to sound. The submarine's electromagnetic signals could be what enraged and drew the creature in. She proposes that if the sonar and signal systems are disabled, they might be able to infiltrate its nest and locate the missing submarine. Just then, a crew member reports hearing a metallic knocking sound over an alternative frequency. It originates precisely from the area Leah had identified, the South Basin. This raises hope that survivors from the lost submarine might still be alive. After a group discussion, the crew agrees to continue the mission. As the submarine approaches the area, internal damage becomes a critical issue. A bolt shoots off under the immense pressure, prompting E1, now referred to as Ivan, to order the submarine to halt near a 5,000-meter deep trench. Though some advise calling off the mission, Ivan refuses to back down now. He personally leads a team of 2 in a state-of-the-art mini-submersible to investigate. As they descend deeper, structural groans and metallic distortion sounds echo through the vessel, but the hull holds. The listening technician again picks up metallic clanging from below, urging the team to press forward despite the danger. Eventually, they reach the bottom and are stunned to find the seabed littered with shipwrecks, vessels from multiple nations and eras. Amid this wreckage lies the missing submarine, though it is severely damaged, with a gaping hole in its hull. Initially, they believe all crew members are dead, but Ivan notices that the front section appears intact. He insists on docking with it, hoping to recover any bodies for proper burial if not survivors. Against the odds, in battling strong ocean currents, the docking maneuver is successful. When they open the hatch, they are met by the hopeful eyes of surviving crew members. It turns out the original commander had the foresight to move everyone to the front of the ship during the crisis, which saved their lives. With the survivors located, Ivan initiates the rescue operation. However, the mini-submersible is too small to carry everyone in a single trip. The wounded are prioritized, and the pilot installs a positioning device for easier return. Unfortunately, this transmission briefly sends out a signal, attracting the monster once again. Unaware of the impending danger, the remaining crew in the submarine prepare for evacuation. Realizing the creature is approaching, and knowing the submarine contains secret weaponry, the commander plans to activate the self-destruct mechanism to ensure nothing falls into foreign hands. Ivan and the commander head to the weapon chamber just as the mini-sub returns with the wounded. Medical personnel, including Laya, begin treating the injured immediately. As the second trip prepares to leave, the radar picks up the monster's approach. The team again goes into silent mode, hiding in an undersea fissure, but a tentacle strikes a rock that then crashes into the submarine's hull. The monster tries to extract the vessel but is hindered by its own massive size. The damage to the sub reaches a critical level, forcing the crew to consider surfacing. But the monster waits above. In a desperate gamble, the mini-sub's tracking signal is inadvertently triggered again. The monster diverts its attention to this new target, giving the main sub a chance to ascend. Although this move saves the main crew, Ivan and the commander remain behind to trigger the self-destruct system. With the monster closing in, Ivan cleverly activates the distress signals from the wrecked submarine to lure the creature away. As the beast wraps around the doomed vessel, the two men trigger the secret weapon, unleashing a massive energy burst that disintegrates the monster into a mass of squid-like flesh. In the final seconds before the explosion, Ivan and the commander leap into the mini-sub, but they are still attached to the submarine as it begins its fatal descent. With just 20 seconds to spare, they detach and escape. Moments later, the submarine detonates. The remaining crew anxiously watches from the main submarine, hoping for a miracle. Just as despair begins to settle in, ripples appear on the ocean's surface, followed by the emergence of the mini-sub. Against all odds, the survivors have returned. The ordeal is finally over, and they begin their journey home.